Download for free to me.
Think about the technology being incorporated into your everyday life. Not just your computing experience, but your everyday digital experience, like your televisions, like your iPods, like your cell phones. Really amazing. And you will see more of these demos this afternoon at the Tech 20 Expo. Now, we want you to get familiar with our presentation style. So, we have two guest speakers with us here right now. First, I'd like to invite up our representative from Queen's University today, and also former MOA student, David Ward.
As I mentioned, I'm a first-year engineer at Queen's, and I'm here to talk to you about technology. Does anyone know who Arthur C. Clarke is? Anyone here?
Yeah.
Someone did last. Yeah, some people did.
Oh yeah.
He's an author, yeah. And in 1968, he wrote a book called 2001: A Space Odyssey, which is one of the staples of science fiction. And he also came up with 3 laws that he feels govern how technology advances. And these became known as Clarke's 3 laws. The first law, let's get through a few, is that when a distinguished but elderly scientist states that something is possible, he's almost certainly right. When he states that something is impossible, he is very probably wrong. In 1896, Scottish physicist and thermodynamic heavyweight, Lord Kelvin, he stated that he felt that heavier than air devices were impossible, and I think the Russians proved him pretty wrong here. And that X-rays were also a hoax. He felt that they weren't actually real. This is hard as heck. Lord Rutherford, one of the discoverers of the atom, felt that an atomic bomb. Oh, great! The remote died again. There we go. They felt that an atomic bomb was impossible, and as we know from Hiroshima and the Cold War, that is entirely possible and quite scary. Albert Einstein himself stated that he felt black holes were completely impossible. And it's now believed that a black hole is actually at the center of our galaxy. The problem with making predictions like these is that they're making them within the scope of the scientific knowledge at that given time. So anything could happen over the next few years. The idea of rocket propulsion, that was considered to be balderdash. And it turns out that it wasn't, and the German scientists caught on to that idea and eventually developed the V2 rocket. The V2 rocket. It's actually research into the impossible that allows the possible to be discovered, and that brings us on to the second law. That is, the only way to discover the limits of the possible is to go beyond them into the impossible. So, believe it or not, the first ever cell phone was used back in around the 1970s by one James Tiberius Kirk. This is awesome. Technology's sick. The Star Trek communicator was a communicator used aboard the Starship Enterprise by James T. Kirk and the crew of the Enterprise. And words cannot describe how awesome he is. The truth is that an astounding amount of technology has been conceived first within the minds of science fiction authors and other authors. In Paris in 1863, Jules Verne wrote Paris in the 20th Century, a novel in which he described. This sucks. Del, thanks, Del. He described. Oh, okay. So the presentation died again. He described fax machines, a worldwide communication network, high-speed elevated trains, and various other technologies that are now commonplace and even dead technologies now in the world today. Technology is moving so fast. A pocket computer, like these little Acer netbooks we have nowadays. That one's a transformer. You can see the Autobots logo. Was first written about in 1974 by Larry Niven. And it's now a common sight amongst anyone who has a netbook or a BlackBerry. How many people have BlackBerries nowadays? It's the new phone. Truth is, more technology has been invented first in the minds of science fiction authors than has in a laboratory or a classroom. Even for me. Everyone here saw Transformers 1 or Iron Man, right? I'm assuming? No? Why not? Sick movies. It was those movies that made me want to become an engineer. Back when I was in grade 10, I decided I want to be a corporate lawyer because they make lots of money.